Hello, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. So you're welcome to this edition of Catalyzing Change Week. So my name is Farmer Tantoh. I'm a grassroots environmental activist from Cameroon. And today I'll be sharing my story, and my story is focused on growing a movement in Cameroon. And I'll be talking about the Farmer Tantoh New Village environmental movement. So next slide, please, Linda. So my presentation will be approximately 30 minutes, and we'll be having introduction, milestones, the pilot phase, the new village movement, the eco village, and the cost summary. Next slide, please. So in order to grow a movement, I believe you need to start small, because from small things, big things grow. Next slide. Okay, this is the introduction. Next slide. So for you to know who I am, my name is Tantoh Foundation. I'm popularly known as Farmer Tantoh. It was like a nickname since 1996 when I was a teenager in high school. So I was born in Cameroon, and I'm a grassroots environmental activist and a farmer. So today I'm 45 years old, and I was elected into the Ashoka and Making More Health, which are global initiatives that aim to create a healthier world for individuals and animals in their communities. So Ashoka and Making More Health, they identify and support social entrepreneurs across the globe to learn from their partners in their innovations, and also mobilize a global community that embraces these new frameworks to build an everyone a change maker world. Next slide, please. So I just want to take you a little flashback how I started my movement. I started in 1996. I conceived a 30 years development plan for local communities, and I started experimenting with different varieties of plants to raise animals for income and manure. And I work mostly with children so that I could instill in them about nature conservation and how to grow food using organic farming methods. Next slide. So I got a scholarship in 2004 to study tropical agriculture and rural development in Cameroon. And I graduated with an HND as a senior agricultural technician, specializing in spring water catchment protection and agroforestry. Next slide. So in 2005, after my graduation, I founded a nonprofit organization called Save Your Future Association, which was all voluntary organization to let young people know that you can contribute to make your environment look better. So currently, SIFA is transitioning into the Farmer Tantoh Foundation, and we are registered as a nonprofit charity in the USA as a 501c nonprofit. So in the past, we received a letter of encouragement from His Royal Highness the Prince of Wales, which is now King Charles of England. And so far, 16 people have joined the movement, and 30 villages are involved. And since 2005 to present, we have created over 800 gardens in rural communities and urban settings. And our water project has impacted over 50,000 people, both in rural and urban settings. Next slide. So in 2007, I participated in a training to study watersheds of the world in 3 continents called the Tahoe Baker Institute. And in 2009, that's when we started the water projects in Cameroon. In 2019, my story was published in a children's book titled I Am Farmer, Growing an Environmental Movement in Cameroon for Elementary Schools in the United States. And in 2024, we are creating the Farmer Tantoh Foundation and also launching the new village environmental movement. Next slide, please. So this was my trip in South Lake Tahoe, where I was monitoring streams in South Lake Tahoe in 2007, and also volunteering in Yosemite National Park. Next slide. So I traveled to Siberia that same year to study the impact of ecotourism on the western shores of Lake Baikal. and also volunteering in Siberia near Lake Baikal. Next slide. And I studied sacred places and spring water conservation with the Buddhists in Ulan-Ude in Buryatia in northern Mongolia. And that was a 3-month trip around the world. And after the trip, I came back to my country to continue teaching people how to preserve water. Next slide. So in my community back in the village, I started a botanical garden in 2005. And this is how the garden looks like. Next slide. So my goal was to teach young people, children, how to plant flowers, teach communities how to do landscaping around their homes, and then also teach school groups so that children could come from schools to learn how to reconnect with nature by identifying the plants. And that is how we have planted over 800 gardens in the northwest region of Cameroon in various villages. Next slide. So we started water projects in 2009. And the main reason why I went into water projects because I contracted typhoid and I was sick for over 7 years with typhoid and I almost died. And I started asking myself, why should thousands of people die because of something that is necessary for life, which is water? And that's how we started doing a lot of water projects. And we have built over 60 wells and springs, providing clean water to over 50,000 plus people and livestock. And then we help villages to get water closer to their homes. Next slide. So my program has hosted over 100 international volunteers from all over the world who have come to join us at the grassroots to see how we can scale up the movement. Next slide. So these are the photos of the various projects we've been doing in various communities across the northwest region of Cameroon. Next slide. So my story was published in a children's book titled I Am Farmer by American authors Baptist and Miranda Paul. And my story is being used in elementary schools across the United States. And it's also translated into French in France. And it is being used in all over Francophone African countries and Haiti. So it gives me a lot of fulfillment that thousands of children across the globe are inspired by my story. So I presented my story in 40 elementary schools to over 30,000 children across 12 states during the book launch in 2019. Next slide. So I've received a couple of awards. In 2011, I received an Africa International Achievers Award in Bradford, UK. Same year, I received the Green Apple Award at the House of Commons. And in 2012, I was elected Ashoka Fellow in Washington, DC. 2022, I was elected Making More Health Fellow in Germany to scale up water conservation in Cameroon and Kenya. And I received a national award in Cameroon. In 2023, I was a finalist of the Energy Globe Award in Norway, which is focused on water conservation in the Western Highlands of Cameroon. Next slide. So these are the awards, certificate and trophies. Next slide. So now I'm coming up with a new village environmental movement. It's called the Farmer Tantoh New Village Environmental Movement. The reason why I'm coming up with this movement is because after working in the rural and urban communities for 27 years with proven records and achievements, the idea of the new village movement is to identify passionate young people living in rural and urban communities or who are stranded in cities or abroad and are willing to relocate back to their villages. So they will have to apply through the foundation under the Farmer Tantoh Fellowship. After a vigorous interview and selection, they'll be elected as Farmer Tantoh Fellows. And I'll have to train them for 2 days at the Foundation Resource Training Center, which I'm currently building. And I'll be able to assign them to various villages to represent me. It's simply because I cannot work in all the villages, but I need now followers to be in these villages now to represent me to scale up this movement. Next slide. So the Farmer Tantoh Fellowship mechanism, each fellow will be allocated to a village, and the fellow will have to sign an MOU for 1 year to commence an environmental project in his or her village. So he or she shall sensitize the village to plant green lawn in at least 100 homes or a local church or school. To start, the following will be given: seeds, a nurse will be created, a lawnmower, a motorbike, and a monthly stipend for the first year. So the fellow shall organize a football competition, in the village to inspire young people to participate in sports. every participant that takes part in the competition must sign an undertaking to plant green lawns and trees in his or her house before you can take part in the competition. The fellow shall update the foundation with weekly reports and photos of their work. An evaluation team shall go around at the end of the 1 year. If the fellow has not met up with their tasks, the motorbike will be taken from them and the stipend will be suspended and will be handed to the next fellow. So this is just to ensure that fellows should be committed, in their job. So that's the mechanism. Next slide. So the reason why we are targeting to start with lawn protection, because the lawns will help to protect the soil against erosion. It will prevent dust and prevent cough. It will beautify the environment. Children will be clean, and hence parents will not spend a lot of money on detergent. It will also prevent rural homes from collapsing, hence saving lives. Hundreds of homes have been collapsing in rural communities because they are not protected. And planting green lawns will help to save these homes and will save lives, and will also help to trap water from the soil and infiltrate into the soil, hence, recharging the underground aquifers. So that is our goal to how we want to start the movement by planting green lawns in the homes. So after the first year's completion, if the Farmer Tantoh fellow successfully implement the tasks he or she can then present a livelihood project, be it agriculture, animal husbandry, or ecotourism. And this livelihood project now will help the fellow now to start generating income for himself. And then the fellow shall then commit to continue with the movement for another 1 year, making a total of 2 years fellowship. So he or she shall continue to identify other community-led projects and shall engage the villagers to take part in their own development, while the foundation comes in to support the project. It can be building a water catchment or building a farm-to-market bridge. So you can see that one fellow can ignite a whole village to be transformed into a vibrant community in only 2 years. Next slide. So please back again. Okay, please go back again. Good. Okay, next slide. Good. So this is the budget for a fellow to launch for 1 year, to purchase motorbikes, to purchase seeds of lawn, stipend for a year. With just 300 euros per month to support a fellow can conveniently make the fellow to live comfortably in his village and then continue to carry out his activities. So we see that the total for one fellow is 8,890 euros for 1 year. The total for 6 fellows is 53,340 euros for 1 year to impact 6 fellows in a village. Next slide. So the stipend for the second year for the 6 fellows will be 30,720 euros. And everything will make up a total of 84,000 euros for the 6 fellows for 1 year. So with 84,000 euros, we can inspire and motivate 6 fellows to carry out developmental activities in their rural communities. Next slide. So these are the potential candidates that we have identified for 2024 and 2025. So they are all men because they have been doing a lot of work in their various communities, and 2 of them are still in the city looking forward to relocate into their various villages. But in future, we also want to empower women and young girls to be elected as fellows. We also want to empower pastors in churches to be elected as fellows so that they can use the church as a medium to pass community development to the whole village. Next slide. So these are the fellows for 2024. Next slide. So the timeline, our vision was to select and interview fellows, which we did that in March. And now in April, our goal was to purchase materials for and training of fellows and nursing of seeds, provided we had like a good partner to come in, And then June was to start the planting of lawns. October to December, maintenance of lawns. January to March 2025, nursing of lawns. March to June 2025, planting of lawn. And then evaluation of the pilot phase for the football competition in July 2025. Next slide. So our vision by 2030, the goal is to elect between 100 to 500 fellows to represent the movement in villages across the northwest region of Cameroon. Villages can now design self-reliant projects to transform rural landscape without depending on government or foreign aid. Projects shall focus on environmental protection, clean water, renewable energy, agriculture, and ecotourism. We believe that by the year 2030, we must have contributed to support the United Nations to attain the Sustainable Development Goals and beyond. And our vision is that we need to scale up this movement beyond Africa, beyond Cameroon, and scale up to other African countries. So we started a project to construct the Eco Lodge in Bamenda, Cambe, and this is a training center. So we started the Eco Lodge project. Next slide. And the vision of the Eco Lodge and the Eco Village is to reconnect city dwellers to ecological lifestyles and also to train the Farmer Tantoh fellows before relocating them to their villages. So we acquired a new land for the purpose of construction of the conference hall of maximum 30 seats. I will need to construct offices, eco cabins. We need to construct biogas, aquaponics, animal farms, and we need a pickup 4-wheel drive for our projects. And the total project for the Eco Village evaluated at 265,000 euros. But the most priority now is to construct the training of conference hall, to construct a cafe, and to construct a returning wall around the cafe. And we are in need of volunteers who can participate hands-on in the construction process. The reason why we are focusing on the construction of the conference hall is because we want to make it sustainable so that it can be open to the public, so that people can, other organizations can come and rent the conference hall and have their meetings and pay a small fee, so that this fee can be generated to sustain the various projects and to also motivate future fellows in future. Next slide. Next slide, please. So now the cost summary for the various priority projects is as follows. The fellowship program for 2 years for 6 fellows, $84,000. The training hall is $25,000. Construction of the cafe is $14,000. Retaining wall around cafe is $15,000, making a total of 138,000 euros. I beg your pardon, it's in euros. So we believe that if we have a potential partner to partner with us, we are going to transform rural communities. We are also open to an investor who may want to invest in the construction of the training hall and the cafe, since we want to make it sustainable so that it can generate income in future to support future fellows, not only in Cameroon, but across Africa. Next slide. So I want to end my presentation with the story of a hummingbird. You know, there was this huge forest that was on fire. All the animals were running for their dear lives. The tiny hummingbird said, guys, we can do something to stop this fire. So he will fly as fast as he could to get water with his beak to sprinkle on the fire. All the animals were laughing at him, even the elephant with his tiny beak, with his large trunk. Who do you think you are to stop this fire? You are so small. The hummingbird replied, guys, I am doing the best I can. So to me, if everyone was trying to do something little in his or her community, no one will ever be there to do a lot. So we all have to be like the hummingbird in our communities and do the best that we can do. Next slide. So I believe that our world of today is not a world of certificates, it's the world of what can you do. I don't have a degree in my life, I don't have a master's, but I believe from my practical works in the field for 27 years has earned me a PhD. And my PhD is based on 3 principles: persistence, hope, and dedication. Therefore, it doesn't matter where you come from. You are never too small or insignificant to contribute to the long-term sustainability of our planet. By doing very simple things to the best of your ability, you are improving our world. Next slide. Thank you so much for your kind attention. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation. So should in case you have any questions, any concerns, my contact is there, my email, my phone number. And you can also get me on YouTube, because I'm trying to showcase what grassroots people are doing on YouTube. And if you are interested to partner, or you have any opportunities that you think can be interested in our program, do not hesitate to contact us. Thank you so much, and I feel so fulfilled being a member of Catalyst, and I want to share with you that through Catalyst, we participated in a training in Argentina organized by Ashoka Argentina called the Local Innovators Program. And after 6 months of training, my team emerged overall winner in 35 countries in the whole world because we're focusing on trying to solve the problem of water shortage in the city of Bamenda. And now our project has been presented to a program in Germany called the Creative Bureaucracy Festival. And in June, I will be in Germany to present our project that will be focused on clean water in the city of Bamenda. Thank you so much. I think I would like to hand over to Pascal, who is one of the fellows that was elected this year. Pascal, if you are online, please, you can share your experiences, how you became a Farmer Tantoh fellow and what you have been doing in your community. Thank you so much.
Okay, Farmer, can you get me?
Yes, we can get you, Pascal.
You want me to come on video? Okay. I'm very passionate about this Farmer Tantoh you just listened to. And I actually came across this amazing soul about 12 years ago when I was the then president of the Cameroon National Youth Council, a youth-led body that young people run their communities. He was one of the presenters there, and I listened to his presentation and the work that he was doing in his community in Dunga Mantung, one of the 7 divisions of the Northwest region. I listened to what he did, and he spoke about the Chua garden. He spoke about how he impacted farmers in that community. And I asked myself that without certificates, this man is doing wonders. I felt passionate about his work. I got closer to him and I picked his phone number. And he also, in another presentation, in another event with young people, presented his project on the building water catchment. And that is where he completely won my heart, body, and soul. I am born on March 22nd, which is celebrated internationally as World Water Day. And this man is passionate about water. His story of contracting cholera is a similar story that I share, a disease that actually has eaten many of us in Africa and in Cameroon so deep. I'm talking even with tears in my eyes because I'm spending this weekend with my dad, who is here in the kitchen. They are in a community in the quarter here with we have about 35 houses built in this particular quarter. None of these households can boast of potable water. They move about close to 5 kilometers to the nearby spring where they get water to drink. And when it rains, it washes dirt from up the hills. They still go and still carry that same water and drink. And when I heard about this man, I say, I'm going to go closer to him. How can I help these people who don't have even water to drink? And every year, at least 70% of the people in the quarter here called Ibvukvo, they get to the hospital and spend a lot of money to cure themselves from the waterborne diseases that they contract because of the lack of potable water to drink. So, and I decided that in 2015, I'm going to organize a community youth impacting seminar, which I call the ISO Youth Development Conference. And I went up to Farmer and I told him that this is what I want to do to my community to bring the young people together to see how we can put hands on deck and help the community. He told me that he is so much available for any support, any logistical expertise that I need. And he talked me through and helped me. And I was surprised when he told me that when you are ready, the dates and stuff, just get me informed. And my team that actually left Bamenda to this issue, this community, which is situated about 125 kilometers away from the nation's, from the regional headquarters, Bamenda. He accompanied me alongside other young people from town who came and met a waiting group of young people in Isu who received them. And I happened to be a prince from the palace. We went straight to the palace and the then king, who recently passed away, received us, and we presented our project. He made available the community hall for us for free, and the villagers came, my friends alongside Farmer. They came about 15 of them from Bamenda, with those that were on the ground, and then the community rallied in the hall, and Farmer drilled them through subsistence agriculture and how they can also use organic manure to grow crops and have a better yield. I followed him, how he talked them through how to grow cassava, plantain, and maize, which are the staple, the most available foods that they consume here. He was there, and the other presenters that accompanied him. And when he brought this idea of the Farmer Tantoh, this new village, this to bring the people, the young people, this fellowship, and I told him that, again, your son, your brother is available. I went through the interview, and every weekend I am back in this community that I'm talking about, Isu. I left Bamenda on Sunday, yesterday after church, and I found myself here. The roads are quite very impassable. They are muddy during the rainy season and dusty during the dry season. They are earth roads. But I found myself here, and it costs you about 20,000 francs CFA to get yourself to this village. So 40,000 is used from Bamenda to and from Isu. So this is my experience about this man who is so passionate about the planting of grass.
Thank you for sharing, Pascal.
Like I mentioned, I don't know whether you can find me. This is my community. This is me in Isu. When I got home, my dad was actually harvesting this grass. We were harvesting this grass. He harvested it. He has harvested it. This grass, actually, you see, is used to touch the roof behind me. This is so beautiful. In the dry season, irrespective of the scorching sun, this grass absorbs the rays of the sun light and traps them up. When you are inside, it is fresh inside. It is not very hot. And that is so passionate to receive me back at home. This is him struggling to fry me granite. This is my dad in the kitchen. He's here in the kitchen. So happy to receive me. Yes, they're greeting you.
Yeah. Okay.
Good.
Okay.
So this is it. This is the compound, and with the lawn that we plant to plant the grass, you see the compound is quite edge. So this is where I hope to see this place green in the nearest future. Everything being equal, if we meet our aspiration, and if it goes well, we have a whole green forest out here, where the project I have in mind to do a piggery, it can fit in this particular part of the compound. And I mentioned about the community. These are houses. These people are here. We have about 30 households of 30 households here, and they don't have water. I mentioned about water. I cannot take 5 kilometers now. So they go through this stretch. They go right that way, right in the bush there, to get water. So this is the planting season. You look over, they are struggling. It's getting green. They have planted maize. To mention that when I brought Farmer Tantoh in Isu about in 2015 for the Isu Youth Empowerment Conference, I brought him to this quarter and took him to the catchment site where the spring where they fetch water. We had to walk and go there. It's about 5 kilometers away from here for him to see how these people are struggling to get water. Again, every year, about 70% of them here, they rush to the community health center for cholera, typhoid-related illnesses, and they spend a lot of money in curing themselves. Meanwhile, if they had available potable water, it would have been preferable to have water which will keep them fine than getting the bad water and get sick, and many of them spend much money. So I'm so passionate about the project, and God be a helper. We pray that somebody gets touched and inspired somewhere to see this to come to fruition. So that is me. And again, I thank you people so much for your listening participation. God bless you all.
Thank you, Pascal. So I think that is the end of our presentation. Maybe in case there's any reaction, any questions, we're open, to answer your queries.
And please don't be shy to share your comments, just your feelings about the session overall. I don't know if Erica is still here with us, but I see that you dropped a question to the chat. I believe Tantoh is one for you. So the question is, would you look at broadening out to South Africa? This person is very interested in the project to be broadened there.
Sorry, I didn't get you. I
mean, would you look at broadening your project out to South Africa? That's a question from the chat.
Wow, yes, that's fine, because my dream is that, the fellowship should grow beyond Cameroon. And now I have some networks in Kenya, which is in Eastern Africa. So as soon as I lay the foundation of the fellowship here, so I have some projects which I have to design in Western Kenya, in Bungoma County. I've been there twice to train communities on water conservation. So in the course of executing these projects in Bungoma, so I'll be able to see how we can start, extending the fellowship there. And of course, if I have good network and partners to extend to South Africa, I will not hesitate, because my dream is that passionate young people stranded in the city should get back to their rural communities. And interestingly, I have a Cameroonian who is currently stranded in Dubai, and he wrote to me that he really wants to come back home. And if I could include him in the fellowship, he will come back from Dubai and get back to his rural communities.
And with the comments about greeting you, your work. So people are very pleased to be on this session.
Well,
anyone else would like to? Yeah, please, Maria, go ahead.
I just want to add that I think it's something that it's very, very important to at least have the right to always come back home and have opportunities as well back home. I'm actually from Spain, but I'm currently in the Netherlands. Of course, it's not the same context, but I really appreciate the work that you're trying to do to at least give the youth as well the opportunity to come back, and it's really inspiring. I had the privilege to get to know you 1 year ago already, and you're doing amazing, and I really see a lot of potential And I hope that next year we can meet and we can have more members, more fellows already in the initiative. So very happy. And thank you very much for sharing it.
Oh, thank you so much, Maria.
And I see someone with a raised hand. Please go ahead, share your comments.
Yes, hello, I'm Khalid. I'm sorry for camera because I have errors sometimes in my computer. I'm Khalid, I'm coming from Egypt. Actually, I'm wondering for this session. I'm so happy. Thank you for this opportunity. And actually, I'm a coordinator for Global Sustainability Future Network. I'm working with the team that are global support for youth also, especially in Africa. I had a summit in Pakistan and also in Egypt and Kenya and Nigeria. And soon we have also this month in Zambia. I'm focused actually for youth. If I can share something for education, I don't know, and climate change also, because actually I have my own project, how I can support that for all youth, because I'm coordinator for this global organization. I can also support for education, technologies, and climate change, and whatever. Also, happy schools and also green schools. Let me contact with your organization, and I will become as a member, and then we see what we have to support that in future. It's my pleasure to do something with that for youth. Thank you. That's about me. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing with us. And we have Julius also raising his hand.
Thank you very much, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Julius. I'm calling in from Nigeria. Yeah, I joined late and due to I'm having network issue, and I actually don't know what has been going on, but I had people talking about what they are doing. So I want to share what I've been doing as a youth leader. I'm a teacher. So what I do is I bridge the gap for quality educations for people who don't have access to quality educations. Like in Nigeria, where I stay, only 20% of the large populations can afford good teachers, can take their children to school, and sometimes they even get a private teacher to come home to take them. And the challenge is this: when they want to write university entrance exams, both the children of the low income and those who are well-to-do are exposed to write the same exams. So at the end of the day, most students who don't have access to quality educations, they fail and they keep failing, and at the end they drop out of educations, and these have impact on the local community. The development of any local of any place depends on how many graduates they have. So before you know, you see all these youth trying to go off from their community to a global center because what? They lack the quality educations to get educated and come back to develop that community. So what we are doing is we are trying to bring those quality education down to the local communities. We prepare them for exams. We try to check what is their weakness, what is their strength, what subjects is not just because you see doctor when you go to hospital and you just make up your mind that you want to become a doctor. So we try to assess what are you good at, what will you be good at. So that is what my organization is doing. We are bridging the gap for quality educations, and we take these educations down to the local community. And we also using technology. So we are trying to reach as many people who are not reachable, and also we are trying to use technology also to reach more people. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Julius. And before you came in, I was presenting about my life journey. So I'm coming up with the Farmer Tantoh New Village Environmental Movement, where we're going to elect fellows to represent me in their various communities. So we are starting the pilot phase in Cameroon, and in future, we hope to extend throughout Africa, where passionate young people who want to relocate to their communities and be the change that they want to see, they'll become a Farmer Tantoh fellow. So it's a Farmer Tantoh fellowship program, which is a 2 years program, and they will be empowered, to transform their communities, to go green by planting trees, flowers, lawns, protecting the environment, and also making sure that communities should have access to safe drinking water and practice sustainable organic agriculture. So that's a summary of what I was presenting, before you came in.
Do we have anyone else who would like to add to the conversation, to the discussion? Manessia, we can see that you switched on your camera. Would you like to share your thoughts or to ask any questions?
Hello, everybody. Right now, I don't have any questions because I just joined you guys now, and I'm trying to. I have been applying here. I'm from Angola. I'm living in Rwanda. Sorry, I'm sorry. But some enough do was yeah. Sorry. So I was saying I'm from Angola. I'm living in Rwanda, the capital city. So I just joined the capitalist challenge week for now, and I'm still waiting for the membership application. I have now continue to understand all the things. Actually, I'm part of the Global Shared community as a community champion in Central and Southern Africa region. I have been mentoring almost 18 different hubs: Mozambique, Angola, Zambia, Guinea-Bissau, and so on. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing your story, and we'll definitely look into your application. My colleague Maria will pay close attention to it. So, if we have no more questions or comments, I would like just to say thank you to our host, Tantoh. So thank you for, first of all, great presentation, and thank you for being the powerhouse and the driving engine behind the change you deliver in Africa. And well, we definitely need more people like you to change our world for better. And that's why I wish you will have the opportunity and the power to broaden the reach of your program and to cover the whole mainland of Africa. And as for our audience, I hope you enjoyed the session and that you made your lesson, that you heard a lot of important information. I already saw in the chat that we got at least a couple of volunteers who would like to join and support you, Tantoh, in your mission. We'll connect you with them for sure. And we'll definitely share with all of you the presentation of this session. We'll share with you the recording, and the contact details of Tantoh as well. So we'll all have opportunity to stay in touch, to communicate, and to move forward our common mission to change the world for better. And I see, Julius, you have a question, right?
Yeah, I have a question. Sorry, like I said, I joined the group late. We were talking about membership because I remember some time ago I applied for that, and there's no any feedback whether I'm accepted or not. Then again, I saw something like fellowship. Is the link available for that so that I can share? So those are the two questions I want to ask. How do I know if I'll become member? And what about the fellowship? Is it available to apply?
I believe as for the application for the membership, my colleague Maria could reply. And as for the fellowship, that's for sure all in hands of Tantoh to reply to this question. Tantoh, would you like to be the first one to inform?
Okay, thank you so much, Julius. So now we are just preparing the pilot phase to launch the fellowship here in Cameroon. But as time goes on, we are going to make it official that it will be on our website. So as time goes on, when we see how the model is coming up, which I am positive about it, that is going to work because we've done a lot of experiments about it at the grassroots. So in future now, we'll be able to make it official and create a link so that when the time comes, people can be able to apply through that link to become fellows in other parts of Africa. And since we are closer to Nigeria, I've been to Nigeria a couple of times, and I think we're going to extend to Nigeria. Charity begins at home, nearest neighbor.
And I can answer the part of the membership. I wrote you in the chat that you can email me and we can see what happens with the application, and what stage are you at. So I'm showing my email in the chat. Feel free to send me an email and solve any questions you may have around membership.
Thank you, Maria. And thank you, Julius, for the question. And thank you, Tantoh, for explaining how the communication and how the process of the fellowship will be happening in the future. All right, people, we are in the end of our session, and if we have no more questions, we could close it. And I hope that you will all enjoy the rest of the Catalyzing Change week. Please go to our website, check the sessions, register to them, and yeah, be the catalyst of change. That's what we are taught, and that's what we should be.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Have
you,
a nice day.
Tantoh.
Bye-bye.
See you all around. Take care. Bye-bye.